Welcome, welcome. So I thought I should drop in and do a little check-in here on the Bitwig 5 update. And this is the beta 2 version. So it's not officially rolled out yet, but they have the beta going on. But no crashes so far. So I set up a little project here, a little DNB drum and bass kind of thing going on here. And I thought we should look at the new curves or the new MSEGs, which everybody probably have been waiting for in Bitwig. And it's finally here. And it's all great so far. Right, so for this little project here, I have a drum break in a clip here. And then I created a group, which is called SC for a sidechain. And within this group, I have a bunch of different tracks, like a piano thing going on. With a little whoosh, whoosh reverb to create that kind of shimmer, tingling stuff. So we have a little bit of ear candy going on, and this polymer synth, which is the chords. And then we have a couple of basses I created for this specific little drum and bass track. And some the obvious rides going on there. And I actually used the new curves here, or the new MSEGs, to create the sidechain. I usually do this with LFOs or sidechain it to a specific trigger track to trigger the sidechain, but now with the new MSEGs here, or the curves, it's actually called curves. If we open up one of these modulators, you find it here in the curves. That's the new MSEG kind of modulator. And the default one is kind of crazy. If you just select the curves here and open up that modulator, it's this kind of ramp up, and then you have this bouncing going on. Hi there, Solakaya. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I just got started here, warming up. But as I mentioned, I created my own little like a ducking here for the sidechain of all these tracks that's contained within this group. And this controller here is the depth of the modulation that we can see here. And I currently have it only at 50%, so we only hear half of that ducking going on. And I can of course increase this to get a more profound sidechain effect. Or go really crazy like that. So you can hear there's quite a difference in the power and impact of the drums when you have a proper sidechain setup, or when you have it removed. So when we can listen to it with removed. The track sounds kind of flat, but then we increase the depth here of the modulation, and we get more power in the drums. So that's a quite fine-grained control over how the sidechain should behave and when to trigger the sidechain. So that's one way to use the new MSEGs or the curves. Now I also have that curve modulator on the polysynth here, on the chords. And it's super great that we can resize these windows too. For us oldies that's gone blind. Pressing command and a parameter here to change this to 0.5, so we get double time on the curve timing. I think by default these are set to 3, and if you wanted to sync with your music and the exact bars, you have to set it to sync, so that the LFO, or in this case the MSEG curves, syncs to the beat and the timing. Right, so that's briefly looking into the curves. And of course we can also open a folder here and select between all these madness curves, which can be used in all kinds of weird scenarios, I think. Regular ADSR curves, the Batman, Ghost. Some fun stuff in there. Right, there's also some other new stuff here that we can see, and that's if we just select one of a random track here in the arrangement, like the drum break here. You can see if we look in the devices panel down here, we have the track name here, drum break, and the container for the drum break, but you also have this project panel. And I don't think we had this in the previous versions of Bitwig. And this project panel also has these remote controls and also modulators. So if I do add a modulator here, just let's add the curves here for the fun of it. And if you press the modulator button here, you can see we have some new parameters that we can modulate. Now we can actually modulate volumes, solo mute buttons. So let's just give that a little try here. Yeah, we can take that default curve and add it to the volume of the ride. And it's by default, as I mentioned before, it runs freely, so we need to set it to sync here to get it to work in time with the track. So now you can basically do FM on the volumes here, which is kind of cool. It wasn't possible before, so. And of course we could add different controllers to different tracks and stuff to. For this specific project, maybe give a little volume controller. Just press the learn here and go to the volume of the hi-hat. So now we can control the volume of the hi-hat. Doesn't matter what kind of track we press here, we always have control over that parameter. So it gives us a nice overview for the different controls. And maybe also go here and attach a controller to the depth here for the sidechain, so we can control that. So now we have that available. Maybe also add a controller for the drums. muting for the drums. So it's super quick to set up fine controls over your arrangement, and we could play with this probably all night. Oh, and there we have the first crash, invalid object state, writing relationship. Well, that's probably expected. It's a beta. Let's see if we can add another controller, maybe add a controller to that master. I added a chain device here, and we mix in the chain device, and that way we get the bandpass filter on the whole track. Andy Simmons, welcome. Yeah, I probably have to be extra careful to use a limiter modulating the mix. So let's add that control, so we can do a bandpass on the whole mix whenever we want. So just press the learn and that button. And now no matter where I am and no matter what kind of track or device I'm controlling, we can always access that project controls, project remote controls. So let's do a little quick mix here. Maybe also add, before we get going, add a little mute button or volume to the polysynth or the polymer synth. Maybe open the filter on this one. Yeah, so we attach a controller to the filter. And if you have larger projects, you probably want to name these more accurately, like poly frequency. So you know what kind of parameter you're controlling. I mean, volume. What volume? Hi-hat volume. Amount of what? That's the sidechain amount. Mute for the drums. Mute drums. And that's the mix for bandpass. BP mix. And there you go. Now we have a couple of parameters to play with to mix and match this little drum and bass arrangement. So let's do a little quick demo. Rains Phoenix, nice. Integrated DJ stuff, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that was like a super quick setup of using this new project page to set up controls. And someone asked here, can you save the assignment as a remote preset? And I haven't tried that yet, but maybe you can do that. Open remote controls editor. Allow 9 slots. So I guess these are saved with the project. Yeah, these pages are stored in the current project, but there's no way to drag this like you can do with like a chain device. So you can save it. So I guess you can't save these yet, because if you think about it, they are quite, at least this setup, it's quite project specific. But I mean, maybe you could have like, add up a few modulators, a few macros and stuff, and have that and save this. That would be kind of useful, I think. But it's a really nice addition. I mean, it was a super quick setup. Anyone happy with the latest Bitwig 5 update? Have you all tried it yet? The beta. Right, so we looked at the curves, we looked at the project remote page. Maybe we should take a look at the browser. Maybe add some kind of melody to this. It's a really nice addition, I think, this new browser, because I do miss like images and having these icons to more quickly recognize what kind of stuff I'm looking at. Because albeit some stuff looks quite ugly in Logic Pro, I think it's quite nice, and even in FL Studio and some of these other DAWs, it's quite nice to have images for stuff, because you recognize stuff more quickly when you see a certain kind of image and can differentiate different like modules and devices. So that's a little nice addition here. So here we have the Collections tab. Save snapshots. Did they have snapshots in the previous versions? I can't really remember. I saw that, but I know Smart Collections, bases, keys. That's like another way to categorize and filter stuff. Filter by location. So now we need some kind of synth melody, so let's just... Yeah, so we loaded a quite heavy reverb here on the master bus. Let's remove that. So I already forgot I had that project page ready to control that the effect here. I instantly jumped to the master track here and started fiddling with stuff. We don't have to do that anymore if we have this kind of setup. We can just roll the remote here. Let's find another lead sound. Todd Bradshaw. Collections are not showing up on my list. That's a weird one. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't switch to make like a serious work on a beta version, but for testing, it's fine, of course. But as you saw there might still be small bugs and stuff. Nice, like a retro music box sound. Let's add the arpeggiator. tons of fun with that preset. So it's a really visual and nice browser. Let's go to the drums and Indian percussion. So it's really starting to get a nice broad library in the Bitwig bundle. Tons of nice sweet samples. Yeah, there's some really sweet sounds in here. It's been a while since I browsed through this, through the loop package of Bitwig, and there's a lot of new stuff in here. Timing issues. Go on forever and mix and match with this the new project remotes here. Super fun stuff. That's the thing I love here with Bitwig 5. That's definitely the project remotes here, and it's super fun to play with the new curves or the MSEGs. Actually, a really nice addition, and yeah, the graphical overhaul definitely works. It's a great, I think it's a great solution to the new browser here. Really intuitive stuff by the Bitwig team. Great stuff, guys. Quick shout out here, I am running Easter sale on my Bitwig courses and Logic Pro courses, so if you're interested to grab one of my courses, definitely go and check them out at store.morningmedia.com. There's a link in the description to this live stream, I think, if I remember correctly. And the sale will end on Sunday. X undefined. I can't stop thinking, why would someone choose Ableton over Bitwig? I guess, in my opinion, I guess it's preferences. And I mean, I personally worked in all these different, at least the major DAWs like Ableton Live, Cubase, Logic, FL Studio, Reaper, some years, and Bitwig Studio here, and Studio One also. But I mean, Bitwig has the upper hand, in my opinion, both for the workflow and overall design of the workspace. I mean, it really helps if the user interface is user-friendly and inviting to play with. DD0 action, so there's a lot of sample packs, or is it old stuff? Well, it's a little bit hard to really to really define, to really know here what's new and what's old, at least for me, because I usually don't use the bundled packages or the sound packs that comes with Bitwig Studio. I usually make my own samples or use my own samples and some of the sample packs that I bought. But I guess maybe some of these packs are new. They probably wrote that on the website somewhere. They have a new wavetable LFO modulator. Let's see if we can find that to modulate something. Here we have the wavetable LFO. Let's see how that one works. Then we have access to all the wavetables contained in Bitwig. That's nice. So there's really some modulation madness gonna happen in in the sound design space here. after Bitwig 5, I guess. Marimba. What shall we modulate? Let's attach it to the most obvious thing, the filter. Can be really fun for basses to use a wavetable LFO and to modulate maybe the filter like this, and then you can like switch the index and get new LFO shapes quite quickly without doing too much work. So like I was doing here with that like Blade Runner bass. Quite nice, instead of having like a static shape and then you need to switch between different LFOs. Now you can have like this wavetable LFO, and then just like this load up a cool wavetable and do a little bit of morphing and then morph between different shapes. Like this little example here with this wavetable, you usually would have to use two LFOs. That one LFO would control the other LFO's like rate. And that's the thing that we're hearing in this example, that the LFO rate is increasing. Right, so that's also a new addition, I guess, that wavetable LFO, which also can be used in the grid as a module. Can we download the beta yet? Yes, if you have an active subscription, you should be able to download Bitwig 5 beta from the website, I guess. Just log into your account and see if it's available to download. Exactly, here we have the answer to your question. Bitwig 5 is now in beta and can be tested by anyone with a Bitwig Studio license and an active upgrade plan. So if you have an active plan, you should be able to download the beta. And as mentioned, if you have an upgrade plan, definitely go and download this beta and try it out for yourself. It's really a banger, especially the new browser and the new MSEG modulator. But I think of all the new stuff in here, I actually think this project remote here is like the best update.